What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games, or later on your favorite podcast service. B. Dave Walters and Erin M. Evans talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
I was taking it away.
Yeah, were you watching?
Here's the thing. I have a point that I have to look at. I can't look directly at the camera because this is me looking at it. It looks like I'm looking above it. So I'm looking here and I just see B-Dave moving at the bottom of my vision.
Make a choice. Are you gonna continue with your professional spiel?
And this is the first time in a few weeks.
To what the heart wants.
It's the first time in a few weeks that I've actually gotten it correct all in one go. I was so proud.
Very proud. Very proud.
You did a good job. Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels Saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions, Frida, Havlar, and Mehen. I am a content designer for Idle Champions, and I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
B. Dave Walters, non-ironically TV's B. Dave Walters. You can find me wherever fine streaming content can be located, including Legends of the Multiverse, Black Dice Society, and this Friday doing a charity game on D&D Beyond for a Waiver Rate Crisis Center.
Heck yeah. We're here today to talk about resurrections, reborn, and constructs because we have a reborn character coming to the game just after the show. Nahara from the Black Dice Society, which I believe B-Dave has some familiarity with.
It's a she. It's a her right there.
We were literally just talking before we went live about how B-Dave can just grab anything if it's mentioned off screen. There it is. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. I have a shocking number of things within arm's reach. Yes, that is true. I have very long arms in a very chaotic environment. So by those two things, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Nahara's coming. Yay!
Yay!
That means Nahara can join Desmond and Tatiana in your in your formation. That's who let's see. Out of this picture here, we got I was like pilot. We got a Tatiana. We got a Desmond, and now we got a Nahara.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. It'd actually be funny if I like how the fact that they're kind of in order there.
Work our way down.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the B. Dave Walters skin for the Dungeon Master, so we can loop back up to the top.
God, that'd be so good.
Hey, okay,
I love that suggestion. Isn't that delightful?
All right, I mean, okay, check this out. I still could do the white piebald ponytail hair in the robe, right? Honestly, let's call a spade a spade. Just make him a little taller, turn him brown. Boom, done. Like, it's the easiest skin. The easiest skin.
Artist.
Yeah, right. That's it.
See, what I was going to ask was if that skin did get made, again, listeners and viewers, this is not a promise of it happening. We have no inside information.
No,
you can consider this soft lobbying.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I want to know.
This is the soft pitch. Although, if you wanted, like, you should super talk about it a lot. Maybe it'll happen.
What would you want to be the Uni replacement? Because there's the ability where Dungeon Master runs away and Uni comes in. Oh, Erin's got an idea.
Answer.
Yes, Erin.
It's a tiny Cypriex.
It's a little juicy boy. That's it. Just like this disgusting little greasy, just a little. Or I was gonna say the baby Tiamat, but
that would be good too.
A little baby Cypriex would be even better.
I love the idea of that for people playing the game who don't watch the show, and so they get the B. Dave Walters one, and then all of a sudden a Cypriex shows up in his place,
and they're just like, what? And I'm like, yeah.
Yep. Deal with it.
I have nothing else to add. Yes, that's it. Also,
tiny. Oh, go ahead.
I just want you to know I feel very seen, Erin. I just want you to know I feel very, very seen.
I don't remember if I told you this, but so I've been DMing on Dungeon Scrawlers half the time, and I got very freaked out about something I was going to do, and B-Dave gave me an excellent, like, get your head on straight kind of pep talk, and it was super duper helpful. And so one of the paths I gave them led them to a Cypriex, and they picked that one.
This is true. We do it. It's part of
mean. These are very mean, B-Dave.
Part of the solution was a Cypriex. This is absolutely true. That I was like, have you considered some effed up S? Did you think about that?
I gave them a couple. I was like, okay. They started talking about ways to get in. I'm like, okay, they go in this way. They're gonna meet like a salon full of succubi, talking about like the best way to get into mortals' heads, and they might be able to talk to them. And they go in this way. There's gonna be like a bunch of Marilysts, and it's one of the Marilysts they've met before. And if they go in the sewers, a Sibriex, I will do that. But I've given them a chance, and they all were like, you know what sounds smart? Sewers. Let's do that. And I was like,
Hey.
I'm not saying I didn't make it sound attractive to go in the sewers, because I did kind of want them to go after the Sibriex.
You know, I just like to say
that's a good DM style right there.
We said the word Sibriex like 5 times.
Oh God, there he is.
There it is.
It's growing on me. It's growing on me.
Don't say that. No.
It's the goo that's on the like little I don't know, what is this? The foundation?
I guess so. Yeah. The base.
The base. Yeah. The
It's
goo on the
disgusting.
base is what puts this thing over the top as being truly terrible.
Also,
Girl,
the
you
ray that
nasty.
like mutates people, that's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. It's it alters people, which is tangentially related to what we're talking about today, actually. Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Brought it back around.
See what we did? Well, there's always room for juicy boys. Yes.
We're professionals.
Did we ever? I mean, I know we've talked about Sibriex. What's the plural of Sibriex? Is it still Sibriex? Sibriexes?
I feel like
Sibriexes?
Sibriexes.
Sibriexes?
It's not technically, unless it is an actual word from Latin, you use an English plural. So Sibriexes. I actually don't know off the top. It's not Sibriexes.
I do feel like we did talk about the
If you say
Sibriex.
it enough, language changes. So
right.
we just keep
I mean,
saying
we've
Sibriexes.
literally done that. So I mean, but because I could see a world where Sibriex is the plural, like it's a Sibriex, and there's also Sibriex, you know, that are
Just to confuse everyone and have a fun day.
Well, I mean, they're kind of messed up anyway.
It's true.
It's very confusing. Everyone is very on brand for Sibriex.
I know, again, we've tiptoed around them, but have we ever talked about them?
I think so. Yeah, I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did. We've actually
They do
passed.
rebuild people and construct them in disgusting ways. So.
They rebuild people and construct them in disgusting ways. They warp creatures, which is exactly kind of, at least loosely, what we're getting at here, that people that have been reconstructed.
Though I do like what J. McUnyielding put in the chat. The pearl of Sibriex is nope. Yeah, so
I'm just gonna say literally this last thing about Sibriex. One of their attacks is they squirt bile. It's described as squirt bile. Yeah. That's all. That's it. Yeah.
Nope. Anywho, so okay, bringing people back. We'll get to constructing them in different ways, but let's actually start with resurrections. How do resurrections work, and can anything go wrong with them?
Oh yeah.
Well, okay. On a macro level, I will tell you the biggest challenge to running a game of Dungeons and Additionally Dragons is past a certain point, death becomes merely an inconvenience. It's just a revolving door because there's so many ways to get resurrected. Which is, I mean, dying is fairly difficult, and then coming back from the dead is pretty easy. So you have to find ways to like mitigate that and plan for that and be prepared for it. Otherwise, the game kind of turns into whack-a-mole. Like knocking down characters and them just sort of getting back up again.
Well, and in older editions, they tried to solve this by you losing a level, getting brought back, or several levels.
The closest thing to that currently is the first resurrection spell, which is evading me right now, but I'll
Revivify?
think of it here. Revivify. You come back with some decent penalties.
Yeah.
So you're in. But
you
I
were
mean,
dragging for a while.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, you were going to be worse off when you were dead. You know.
Let's see. It says Revivify says you touch a creature that has died within the last minute. That creature returns to life with 1 hit point. The spell can't return to life a creature that has died of old age, nor can it restore any missing body parts. But I do feel like I feel like there was.
But you get You get Revivify at the second level, too. Also, you come back with 1 hit point, so pending the circumstances of your revival, you can get got immediately. All things being equal, Revivify is an out-of-combat spell, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise Dead has the bunch of penalties.
Mm-hmm. If you have it handy, want to enlighten us, please?
It says you return a dead creature to you. Oh, you return a creature you touch to life, provided that it has been dead for no longer than 10 days. If the creature's soul is both willing and at liberty to rejoin the body, the creature returns to life with 1 hit point. And then there's other things in here, but mechanically, coming back from the dead is an ordeal. The target takes a -4 penalty to all attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Every time the target finishes a long rest, the penalty is reduced by 1 until it disappears.
So that's a pretty long lingering penalty there. But the important thing to remember is 2 things. One, that you get Raise Dead is a 5th level spell, which means you get that when you are level 7 versus again level 2 being able to, or level 3 rather, to be able to Revivify. Revivify only works if they've died in the last minute, which is an eternity in combat. But remember that I just said you got to do it outside of combat. So if you like rush into the room and somebody's dead, you might not be able to help them. Raise Dead is I think a week or whatever we just said. So was it a day? Raise Dead?
Oh no, Raise Dead is within 10 days.
10 days.
So you got 10 days to do it.
So, but here's an important aspect of that spell that people overlook that is very important for narrative reasons. The soul has to consent to come back.
Yep.
So there's times that it's like, oh, the bad guy's dead, bring him back so we can interrogate him. It's like, well, if they don't want to, they don't have to. Even if you cast a spell like Speak with Dead, they don't have to answer you, and they don't have to answer you truthfully. So that adds kind of a plot part of it, because I know recently there was, I don't want to spoil anything for people that aren't caught up on the voluminous number of streams that are going right now, but a character died in a stream, and they had a cleric who wanted to bring them back, but the player didn't want to come back, so the person basically refused. They were like, no, I'm tired. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I died a good death. I'm ready to be over here now. So that's an issue. Yeah, it is interesting thing to point out. And yeah, you're going to be stuck in low gear for a little while when you come back, which is better than the old days. Like you said, it used to be you came back having lost levels, and leveling used to be a lot harder.
Yep.
So it's like, here was a situation that I clearly was not equipped to survive, got killed, came back, am now weaker, and presumably have to deal with again. So, hard times. Back in my day, the resurrection magic, you had to be at least level 12, I believe it was, which was a couple of years of playing the game to even get access to such powerful sorcery.
God, yeah. Yeah, thinking about those times is wild. Just, like, yeah, level 12 was years.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, again, I get it, because this is a far more conceptual thing. Again, when death is no longer an obstacle, it very much alters the kind of story you tell. And recall when Keith Baker was on with us on our writing podcast, and he pointed out that it's like, well, resurrection magic needs diamonds. If that were really true, then whoever controls the diamonds controls the world, because you control life and death, you know? And I was like, that is true. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Revivify. What was the Revivify has the diamond, and so does Raise Dead. I'm looking at Reincarnate though.
Reincarnate
is fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the other one that I was gonna bring, but it requires rare oils and I don't even know what that is, but it has to be worth 1,000 gold during being consumed. But yeah, Reincarnate is an interesting one.
I once joined a game that was already like going on, and there was this like elf wizard that my friend Nina was playing, whose name was Nibbles, and I was so confused about this until someone said, "Oh no, Nibbles used to be a halfling, but got crushed by a rock." And we didn't have access to resurrection. So we cast reincarnation, and Nibbles became an elf. And a very stately elf wizard named Nibbles happened. I loved that.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, they reincarnation. Yeah, you roll a D100 and see what you come back as.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No negative consequences to this course of action whatsoever.
It definitely does not impact your psyche in any fashion.
No, not at all. Why would it? No. I do also realize that, yeah, this only has the original player's handbook races in it as well. So if you're looking for something new and fancy, it's not there.
Ask your DM to make a new table.
Yep. Then we've got...
Yeah, but if you make a new table, you got to put some wonky things in there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
100%.
You roll a Cibriex.
That's just when you fail your save coming back again, and you come back as like a Cibriex named Pizza the Hut. Just like get goo all over everybody. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm a gnome rogue named Pizza the Hut. Remember, if I die, cast reincarnation. It'll be fine.
It's no big deal. Yeah.
I really want to make a gnome rogue named Pizza the Hut now.
See, I want to make.
Go
No, go ahead. No, please, you.
Is there a limit on the number of times you can cast reincarnate? So if you just come back and you're like, no, thank you, I do not want this. Throw myself on my sword.
So let's say, throw myself back on the sword. You touch a dead humanoid or a piece of a dead humanoid. Ooh, that's interesting. Provided that the creature has been dead no longer than 10 days, the spell forms a new adult body for it and then calls the soul to enter that body. If the target's soul isn't free or willing to do so, the spell fails. The magic fashions a new body for the creature to inhabit, which likely causes the creature's race to change. That's it's just a weird little note. The GM rolls D100 and consults the following table to determine what the form of the creature takes.
All right, hold on a second.
There's no limit, right?
Or the GM chooses a form.
Hold on, I'm about to roll for both of you. Who wants to go first?
Me.
All right. Aaron, you would come back. No, you would come back as a hill dwarf. as a hill dwarf.
Let's go, baby.
All right, let's see here. Trevor, you would come back as a wood elf.
I'm cool with that.
Here, I'm gonna roll for Lauren, who is here with us in spirit. Lauren's coming back as a high elf, and I'm
So
coming
much cooler
back.
than me.
I'm coming
I'm the
back.
shortest again.
Wait, hang on. I'm coming back as a human. I feel cheated, but it's safe now. You know what I mean?
Like you just pop back up and all of us are completely different. And you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, right. But now I look like the dungeon master. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I love that.
I'll stay on this one. You know what I mean? I will not hit again. I'm good with human.
Oh Lord.
I do appreciate the idea of like a dwarf or something come up and they're a half orc and they're like, absolutely not. No, never. Do it again. Yep. Interesting point though. All the other resurrection magic is necromancy, but reincarnate is transmutation.
Oh, yeah, and Reincarnate currently, well, as of the writing of this thing that I'm looking at, is only cast by a druid, which is that's pretty cool.
Only, you know,
like, only, yeah.
That's where the people like me come in, and I'm like, need access to another class's spell list. Yeah. But I do just love this idea. Like you're like slipping off the mortal coil, and your buddy just kind of shoves a good berry in your mouth, and it's like, I got you, dog. Don't worry about it. This is gonna be fine. But see, because now I'm like, I realize you're supposed to like reemerge mystically as roughly what you were, because if absolutely nothing else, so the freaking game can go on.
Yeah.
But could you imagine, you like tearfully burying Havilar, like, I will see you soon, I will do anything, and then like put her in the ground, flash a light, dig it up, and there's just like a baby gnome. It's like, yeah. You're like, now it's awkward. Yeah, she's it's gonna be 30 years before she's good at anything. All right, great, cool, dope.
The next spell is Resurrection, which is a 7th level spell.
So what really changes with these things between Raised Dead and Resurrection is how long the person can have been dead before you bring them back. Resurrection, they can be dead up to a century.
That's
That would be
wild.
such a trip.
It would be.
You die a century ago, and then a bunch of adventurers wake you up, and you're like, "What the hell?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Where's the treasure?" And you're like, "What?
Yeah.
Lazy kids."
Exactly. Like you're like, I'm just supposed to be a lich. Now I'm just mad. You know what I mean? Like, what do you even get me up for?
Oh wait, I still have all my magic. Meteor swarm. We're all
Exactly.
going
You're
now.
like, oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No -4 to meteor swarm. Yeah. It's interesting because I think like in this world, being out of commission for 100 years would be a big deal, but in the realms,
Yeah.
kind of depends on the
No,
century,
that
really.
changes.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
You go down in the spell plague, you come back up, you're like, "What year is it?"
yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, I mean, the same people might be in charge. You know, you're
That's
like, well,
true. You're like,
that
"Oh no,
guy-
all my friends are like, Buddy the elf lives down the road. He's still fine."
no, he's still good. Yeah,
Yep.
dude's a legend. Yeah, let me take it. And then you're like, well, why didn't he come for me? And then you go and you just be mad. You know. Like, I think I told you guys a story that once I went to see a play for my birthday at the Shakespeare Tavern in Atlanta when I still lived there. And I walk in and a bunch of my friends are there. And the first thought that went through my head was these sorry SOBs went to see this play without me. They know how much I love Shakespeare. And then I was like, oh, it's a surprise party. Oh. I mean, thankfully, I kept that in my hard box. I wasn't just
Yeah.
like, you sorry, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? They're all surprised. It's like, oh.
I love that so much.
That is what happened. That is where, so that's the thing.
Oh.
You come back to life and you're like, those sorry so-and-sos, they didn't even come save me. And they're like, well, they literally sent us to save you. And you're like, all right.
Like, it's
but-
good for a century. I was in the middle of redoing my kitchen. I was
But-
gonna get to it.
Well, I mean, pending the race, that is very much the way the elves would look at things. I'm like, it was only 94 years. Why are you whining? Yeah. But see, now I want a character concept that is like a dragonborn that was already like a resurrected gnome or something.
That would be pretty good.
That's the inciting incident. And you're all this big burly thing, and you're like, "Hello, friend. Would you like to like go out and traipse in the fields with me? You know, would you like to be my friend?"
I do like that idea where it's just like someone who was like they were not meant for adventuring or anything. Like some old gnome or something dies and reincarnation gets put on, and they just come back as like this buff dragonborn, and they're like, well, I mean, all right.
Played a character once that was a Warforged that believed she was the reincarnation of a little halfling girl. With the question mark of, did that happen, or was she sort of brainwashed? Didn't really get answered because it turned out that was a D&D game that was mostly we fight a combat and then we fight another combat, then
Right.
another combat. So maybe someday, but
Resurrection, I was just reading, until you finish a long rest, you can't cast spells and have disadvantage on all attack rolls.
Oh.
So, remember, we were just saying that you were like, still got my magic. Oh, no, hang on.
No.
Dang
and
it.
then you're just like, okay. I just need some time to think about it. Can you take me to an inn?
Yeah, exactly.
Take a nap, have some breakfast,
Yep.
enjoy the bird song, meteor
Yep.
swarm.
I know, you're like, hang on. All right, now I remember.
It just
Meteor
catches in.
swarm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mhm.
Actually, my first short story, my first published fiction in the Forgotten Realms, was about a spy that worked for like the super high level spy master, and what they would do was they would send her in and they would cut her pinky finger off before, and then she would go in and figure out like
Mhm.
what's going on, like what's the secret plan that they can't pin down, and then get caught, get killed, and they're like, cool, secret plan's still on. Then they would resurrect her from her little finger, and she'd be
That's
like, yeah,
so
okay, here's the secret
cool.
plan. Yeah, the spy master dies, and then in the process of taking her body back where she's from, they go through Earl Khazar, which is ruled by vampires, and find out one of those times she did a job, they didn't destroy the body, and it's a white now, so she has to fight herself. It's very, very traumatic.
That's a really cool story, though. Every time you mention that, I'm like, it's a great idea.
That is bad. Sorry, I was reading a thing that Lauren linked about souls specifically in the game.
You know what's strange about all of these is every one of these spells, all the way up to True Resurrection, which is like you can bring back anybody. None of them work if you died of old age. That's just a weird thing where it's just like, no, you're just out of track, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like this, yeah, it's a one-way trip. You know, I'm like all the magic in the greatest resurrection magic is like not bringing Nana back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was looking through Resurrection and True Resurrection, and it's interesting that Resurrection, this site that I found, requires body, yes, but only a one small part, like what Erin was saying. True Resurrection requires body, no. You can just bring him back.
Yeah, you're just like you're back up. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, and that one is 200 years after death. And then they also mention Wish, but we talked about Wish. We know that there's some things that can go wrong there.
Shenanigans!
You mean things that can go right there. You know? Again, showing my age, I'm from the Twilight Zone Monkey Paw School of Witchcraft, where the spell could do literally anything, but you had to be very, very precise about what you asked for, because its super was very much you wished for eternal life, but not eternal youth. Mwahaha. Like, its super was that thing.
And I love that.
Yeah, so it's super that thing when I do it. I'm like, it's going to give you what you want, but it's going to give you exactly what you want. Like, I think there was a charity game I did there were monsters attacking like a mountain village. And they wished for, I think it was like they wished that it's like the monsters can't hurt these people or something like that. But what I did was basically wipe out the village. The village just wasn't there. And the monsters were.
Oh my God.
It very much was something like where they put the monsters can't reach these people or something. And it was like, okay.
Were you I have a memory in my head of someone telling me a story. I can't remember if this was you. Were you the one that had the group that like wrote the extremely detailed wish? Yeah. Yeah. Like a freaking law thing.
10 people worked for a month and a half on that, only to stymie me personally. And it's because I'm slippery, man. I was looking for every possible way out of it, but they did it. They did do it. Yep, that's true. That is true.
I love that.
There's a lot of like, wherefore this. And concordantly this, but not excluding this.
Gotta get a D&D lawyer in there. Yeah.
Get a devil.
So B-Dave, since you DM a show about such things and whatnot, what are Reborn?
Okay, so Reborn are one of the 3 new lineages that came out with Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
Yeah.
There is the Hexblood, is somebody who has a hag ancestor, as we talked about recently.
Yeah.
Was that last week?
That was last week.
Time is I reject linear time and all the other lies of the Jedi. I'm like, it was recently was the thing that happened. There's a Dhampir, which again means you have a vampiric ancestor. Which common misconception doesn't necessarily have to be your parent. It's like the same way with like tieflings or divine soul sorcerers. It's just somewhere along the line, but then you get a little bitey when you're born. Reborn are living sentients that died and have come back now. And there's a few ways you can have come back. They're non-specifically Frankenstein's monster, honestly. Yeah. But that's the idea that like you have lived, you have died, and now you live again. And there's 2 types of Reborn. There's the undead type and the construct type, because as I said, they're legally distinct Frankenstein's monsters. So
I don't think they need to be legally distinct. That one's way into the public domain.
Because that is true, hopefully. There's 2 Reborn on the Black Dice Society. There's both Nahara and Valentine are both Reborn. And Brother Uriah was recently resurrected using the apparatus to bring him back. But he seems fine. You don't need to worry about anything.
Nothing.
I'm sure
he's
there
good.
will be no
Mm-mm.
ramifications
No.
to that.
Literally the last we've heard of it. I'm sure.
Just because Mark Muir has a plethora of undead masks, he doesn't. Nah.
look,
Fine.
it's would I pull some long con traumatic thing?
You?
You're that doesn't fit you at all. No.
Plot twist: he was a Cybriex the entire time. Mark Mere, juicy boy.
Oh God, Mark Juicy Boy Muir.
B-Day Walters won the first Emmy for actual play.
On a wholly unrelated note that I will not explain to you, I refer to Seth Green when he and I talk. His contact is saved everywhere for me as Big Sugar. Big Sugar. So Mark Mears could be Juicy Boy. It's all.
I approve of this.
It's all on brand. One of my favorite things about Reborn, though, is they don't sleep. There's a few things that don't sleep here. Like constructs don't sleep. Elves kind of meditate. But the way I did it with both Nahara, who is coming into Idle Champions today, and Valentine, when they're sleeping, is both of them go back and they would see scenes from their life that would replay that they didn't necessarily understand. That was very much a narrative thing that I chose, but I just kind of liked that idea. You know what I mean? That you sort of like power down for a minute and you're like, now I see some crap. and then I'm up again. But one of the things when you make the character, if you do it by the book, there's some tables you can roll on that kind of have like some aspects of your previous life that might play in your mind that you might not remember anymore. Like things like you can, well, first of all, you can figure out how you came back. Like one in the very first one on the list is you were magically resurrected, but something went wrong. Like somebody tried to use one of these spells, but they didn't really bring all of you back. Or like one is you were released after being petrified for generations. Your memories have faded, and though your body isn't what it once was. That's dope.
That is.
And then you like I said, you have advantage on saving throws against disease and being poisoned because you're kind of like half dead already. Advantage on death saving throws. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe, which is super useful in this game.
God, I bet.
You don't need to sleep and can't magically be put to sleep. Although, again, you kind of like do your low power thing, and they all have an ability called knowledge from a past life, where you can kind of extract skills that you once possessed to kind of give you like a bonus on skill rolls. So it's neat.
Fun.
It's neat.
I don't know why, but looking over this, I'm just like, I kind of want to do a game where all the players are reborn. I think that'd be really freaking cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun, especially when it depends on how much you want to lean into what you do or don't know. Like I said, R2 Reborn, one of Nahara's core character concepts is that she doesn't remember anything, and then we find out that she's actually lived multiple times, that she's kind of stuck in this cyclical existence, that she has to try and figure out why. Versus Valentine knows exactly when she got killed and exactly how she got brought back, but hasn't necessarily figured out why yet, which, we're going to find out. Episode 50 this week, 5-0. And there's still things I haven't revealed from the first episode because...
God,
again,
I love that. you know what you're doing.
Playing the longest of long cons. Yeah, but
I'm here for it.
But yeah, character-wise, they're really, really neat because I think what isn't very clear the way it's written is that you can be a reborn anything. Like you can be a gnome that's reborn. You can be a dark elf that's reborn. In the Gax Pack, Jason Charles Miller's game, I played a reborn who looked like a dark elf. And his whole thing was he actually was this like pretty cheerful, like boisterous guy and got killed and they brought him back, but like not all of him came back.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like this really dark and intense guy after that, because I was a divination wizard to grave cleric. So my whole thing was his portents was he could see ahead to how people would die.
Oh, jeez.
And I just kept alluding to that. You know, I'm like, it's almost time, friend. Don't fight it. You know?
Jesus.
Yeah. I
That's
love
alarming.
that character. Yep.
Oh boy. Okay, so that way we have a little bit of time to see what the viewers put in for questions. What's up with constructs?
There's a lot of different kinds of constructs.
There are a lot of different kinds of constructs. Yep. Please. I rambled about Reborn. Reborn can be construct types too. That's important.
Nope.
But yes, please.
So interesting types of constructs. So constructs are either sort of animated objects or some kind of artificially constructed creature. They can be like fully sentient. They can be sort of like running on a program more or less, but with magic. Some of them are considered truly alive and some others less so. Like a crawling claw is a kind of construct. It is like a hand that moves around on its own. That's more in the Frankenstein variant of that. Helmed horrors, which are sort of animated armor. They suck. Don't get into fights with those. Shield guardians are sort of the nicer version of that. They're sort of like robots made out of metal and wood that work for wizards. Tomb tappers, those guys. Those are not fun. Those were Netherese creations. Big old construct
Did you say
monsters.
tomb tappers?
Yeah, they're nasty.
Tomb tappers.
They are super nasty.
But it
It's
sounds so
like-
pleasant.
They're very big. They're also called Falud. And they have like a big like mouth in their stomach.
Yeah.
And they carry a big old, this one's got a big old hammer in its hand.
Like-
they're huge.
Like, it's one of those creatures that I see and immediately hear the conversation in my head of how they were made. All right, so they're giant things. They got no face or anything. And they carry a giant hammer. They got long, nasty fingers. I don't think it's creepy enough. Big old mouth with 2 rows of razor sharp teeth in it, in his stomach.
So
Done.
I'm looking at the art here. The fact that that's a construct is weird because it looks like a star spawn. But more importantly, somebody listened to a lot of Tool when they created this.
You are totally right.
A lot of Tool.
They're made by the Netherese to try to like root out the Faerun, I believe. But now since Netherrealm's not around anymore, they just like dig looking for the source of all magic. Here's a question there's no answer for. So they retain the memories of their ancestors. So they have pretty similar like original programming, like dig down, find the magic.
Mhm.
But that word ancestor means these reproduce, and I don't understand how or why the Netherese would do that.
A tomb tapper reproduces.
I mean, look at that
Yeah.
guy. He gets a lot of tail. I mean, like, come on. Come on. He's got him coming and going.
I mean, maybe if you are.
I was gonna say I just found out that they made that WizKids are making a unpainted mini of it, and now I want to get it and pretty it up.
Get him a Gratz makeover. Some
Yeah,
leather pants,
put
and
some
then a
lipstick
shirt,
around the giant mouth.
top.
You know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not here to yuck anybody's
Oh!
gums.
Oh my god. That reminded me. Last night I was watching something that Matt Mercer was on, and he talked about Gratz and the Raven Queen and Orcus. And I was just like, man, the opposite of Matt Mercer talking about those three and us talking about those three, it's very different. Orcus is, and we're like, love me.
I mean, wait a second. No, he's still like, raw. It's just like,
Yeah, but we know
what's
what's behind that.
yeah. I mean, like, what? I mean, like, look at her. She's gorgeous. Okay, fine. Yeah. That is, I don't know how we got to say anything with Orcus, but it is the missing piece. It is the missing piece. Like, all of the stuff with the Raven Queen only really makes sense if he's kind of a jilted lover.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Canon in the game.
Doesn't know.
Mhm.
I want you guys to know that I have a dream of someday we have a Champions of Lore t-shirt which incorporates Orcus with the boombox and the phrase "It's canon if we say it's canon."
Yes.
Also, if we say it repeatedly. And it
Also,
becomes
shout
canon.
out to Banana Mobster for on my birthday making an image of Orcus with, instead of the boombox, a birthday cake. That was
Aw.
fantastic, and I appreciate you. Okay, we're gonna check out some viewer questions because we're getting towards the end of the show. Sabigail the Kobold says, question, does turn undead / turn the unholy work on Reborn, and in your opinion, should it?
If they're undead subtype, yes. Early in our game, both Nahara and Valentine got turned by Brother Uriah. Yeah,
It was so good.
If you're the undead subtype, you're undead.
That.
You know? So yeah. I made it more of a fear effect though. Like they were still conscious, but they were just like, ah! why are you glowing? Yeah. Yep. But if you're a construct subtype, you wouldn't.
Yep. Catch-23 says, question.
Hang on. Sorry, can I just interject one thing?
Yeah.
There's no external logic as to whether you're an undead or construct subtype. It's just what you decide. You know what I mean? Like if that's how your character came back, or if that's how the character was created. It's not like if this then undead, if that then construct. So
yeah, because like if you did do a Frankenstein sort of way, there could be an argument for either one, but
correct.
Catch-23 question, how much of the body is actually necessary for raised dead? If a party kills a dragon and harvests its eyes, teeth, claws, and some hide, could its mate still show up and cast raised dead?
This seems oddly specific, like there's a story behind it.
Yeah, it really does. You can read more about it in my upcoming book, if I did it. Let's see. Raised Dead says,
I think Ray said you need a whole body.
you need a whole body.
Yeah. You could like bunch the like parts together, I think, you know.
Just get a pile.
Yeah. It's like, but it all comes back wrong. That's how you get a Cybriex.
No!
The dragon's like, I appreciate what you've done for me here, but you know.
This has never occurred to me. Like, okay, Ray's dead. You need the body or the majority of the body, right? Like, and if it's like got its hand cut off, the hand's not coming back. But if you had all of the parts laid out next to each other, would it still work? Because you have all the body, and the grievous wounds get fixed.
Well, yeah, that's actually a thing. Does it restores? Oh, well, the thing is that Raised Dead does not restore body parts. So even if you have
there, it's not growing a new one. That's the
She's
thing.
like they're bunched together.
Yeah,
right?
no, I see what you're saying.
I'd say DM's discretion.
Yeah, DM's discretion. I would probably allow it.
I would allow it, but I would make them really look for all the parts.
Yeah.
I already know. Yeah, like Osiris up in this piece. Yeah.
See, missing one, make a new one.
You know, here's what I would do. I would have them look for the parts, find all the parts but one, like miss like a hand or something, and then someone else cast True Resurrection with just the hand, and then I'd ship a Theseus this piece. Like there's two of you now.
Yeah.
Which one's the real you? Who knows? Yeah.
That's some
Which
Doctor
one got
Who
the
stuff
soul?
too.
Or did
Yeah.
the soul split?
Yeah.
Or did the soul split? Yeah.
Or was it a new soul? So, Cassius335 says, question, Treavor on Dungeon Scrawler sometime? Well, one, I have been on there. I've been on a bunch of guest shows and stuff. But, you know, who knows? Maybe one day. Lord Nix57, what event is it? It is Founders Day. And that will be starting in 15 minutes.
15 minutes!
Ramus2, question, Erin, I really like that background. What is that from? It looks very familiar.
What is this? Is it the starter kit?
Yep, that is the cover art for the starter kit. One of my favorite adventures.
I found it on the internet. I bet you can too.
Also a great show JCM did back in the day.
Evil Emperor Zerg says, question, isn't B-Dave a little tall to be Dungeon Master? I mean...
That's what's great about it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay, somewhere the people that do the tech stuff for Idle Champions are like, what just happened? Because I'm sure that something changes when you go from it's this tall to like it's this tall. But come on. You made Averin really big. You could make Dungeon Master be really big. I'm sure
Counter
the math
argument.
works.
They don't even have to resize his outfit. I'll be like Hoochie Daddy Dungeon Master. Like, whatever. Yeah.
It's just the Dungeon Master cloak goes to your thighs.
It is like an ultra mini. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Just like striding across the battlefield, throwing fireballs.
I just imagine if that ever comes out, someone's just like, "Do they really have to put that much definition into his legs? Good lord!"
I'm like, yes, it was in the contract. It was in my writer.
I sent extensive reference images.
I did, exactly. I'm like, work too hard on these damn things not to have them show up. You know what I mean? Just like Penelope half pint freely in your formation, and then just like a exactly. This has to happen now. I'm gonna have words. Battle champions.
Let's see here. Ryan Hayden says, just imagine that every great villain defeated leaves behind a corpse that must be guarded from resurrection for 100 years. That's actually kind of cool.
That's a very interesting heist setup.
It really is.
See, I just hit him with
that.
Hit him with disintegrate. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Yep.
Some of them work with disintegrate.
Only true resurrection, and if they're strong enough to cast true resurrection, you already got a different set of problems. So yeah,
that's true.
I feel like you could manipulate a story so that you had to do a heist in order to do it. But
1,000%, absolutely.
Just call it corpse heist. Like that just sounds cool. Also, corpse heist is my new emo band.
I was gonna say I have their demo CD. You know what I mean? From when they were still underground. Like old, like original corpse heist before they went, corporate.
Corpse heist.
They went corporate. I love it. Corporate.
When they were still underground.
Literally.
Cassius335. Question: can a druid learn contingency? Imagine taking out the big bad evil druid, and then it immediately comes back as something else.
So, back in the day, yes, druids could learn contingency, and that very much was a thing. That it's
really?
Like if they got, but back in the day, resurrection also didn't necessarily bring you back as a humanoid. So you might like kill this druid, and then like a week later, there is a surprisingly powerful grizzly bear. It's just like, coming into your camp at night. That is true.
See, I would make it come back as a crab, because I just think that'd be funny. The party perpetually being hunted by a very angry crab that...
He only wants his money.
Well played. And for this home game session, we have special guest Clancy Brown.
I mean, if you think about it, is that not Mr. Krabs' gritty origin story that he was killed as a druid? Someone cast Reincarnate. He realized all the time he'd spent in nature was wasted and just like dedicated himself to soulless capitalism after that.
Oh my god, I've never wanted Clancy Brown to play D&D more than right now. Ryan Hayden comes back and says, question, is it just me, or are there similarities between Reborn and Warforged? Some abilities are very alike. In some ways, they are parallels. Just one made mainly from flesh and the other one mainly from metal. What is your take on this?
Erin has thoughts. I have thoughts, but I'm gonna let Erin say Erin's thoughts first.
So the question is, what do I think about the similarity between Reborn and Warforged?
Yeah, mechanically they're a lot alike. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And theoretically, you could, like I said, you can tell kind of similar stories, or you can kind of veer off more, because that having that undead aspect is very interesting. Like, it's different. But I think that, I think Warforged are so of their setting that, to my mind, they tie in specifically to a lot of things. And then with Reborn, you have a sort of a different set of influences and things that you might want to add in. So it is a lot of flavor, but...
Yeah, theoretically, they're from very different places. But, Warforged are Terminators from a war that's over. And now they don't know what to do with themselves. And theoretically, these are people that are just kind of like trapped between life and death. I think the reason why they seem similar is there's only so many mechanical options You know what I mean? Because they
Yeah.
very much stop short of just straight up making Warforged Terminators. But then they also stop short of making Reborn just like diet liches, you know? So that's how you see
Like,
some of the same
This
things.
is Frankenstein.
Right.
But
But Frankenstein the Terminator,
Yeah.
that in and of itself is pretty dope. Like, I mean, that's public
true.
domain. I think I'm gonna write that book next. Right. Mhm.
Stabigail says, reborning a soul into a warforged body. That's a big plot point in Destiny. But yeah, no, it is for me flavor and just whatever you want to do. But yeah, that is all the questions that we got, which means I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode. Friends, where can people find you and what awesome things you're working on?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can listen to me with these guys on our podcast, writing about dragons and shit. There isn't an episode this week. We ended up just chit-chatting instead, and it was very refreshing. So go back and listen to old episodes or find your friends and talk about writing. These are all great things. You can also watch me on Dungeon Scrawlers on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And this week, we're going to do some banana stuff because we have not just the amazing B-Dave Walters joining us, but one of our other players got sick and I went a little bananas. And so also Lauren Urban and Latia Jaquise will also be joining us. We're going to have Harpers up in here. And I'm so excited. I'm nervous. It's going to be very fun.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm going to be all over the place tonight. 2 places at once. I'm going to be there with Erin. Legends of the Multiverse at 5 on D&D, Twitch, and YouTube. Tomorrow, Black Dice Society. 50th episode on D&D, Twitch, and YouTube at 4, where you can see Nahara and Desmond and Tatiana so that you can get them all in your formation. Friday, charity game for Wave of Rape Crisis Center, which I think is at 2 Pacific, but I don't know. We have a bananas cast for that. It's all over the tweetagram. You'll see it. And inevitably something I'm forgetting or not supposed to talk about because of NDA bullet. So just follow me on the tweetagrams at B-Dave Walters.
You can follow me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there, and you can also find me anywhere the Idle Champions community is, because I'm the community manager, and that's where I'll be. Let's see. I think everything is normal this week for streaming schedule. So check out the Twitter and see what our schedule looks like, and I post any updates to the schedule in there. Oh yeah, Griddle Champions is off. That's what I remembered. Ha ha ha. But thank you to I think we had Martin and I think we had Jay at one point in here modding today, so thank you very much for that. Thank you to Lauren for producing, and thank you to Codename Entertainment for let's have some fun, talk about some D&D. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it later as a podcast or your favorite podcast service, and you have any suggestions for future topics, you can send them into championsoflore at gmail, or no, not Gmail, that's the other show, at championsoflore at codenameentertainment.com. Ha ha ha, I remembered. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. So until next week.
Isn't there like something really great starting like right here at noon?
Well, I mean, there's Founders Day. I mean, wait 6 minutes. Founders Day will start. Get Nahara, have some fun, do some cool things. It'll be great. So now, Champions out.